Okay, so I want to go ahead and kind of explain the life path number and kind of explain what each life path number is. Kind of break it down a little bit for you guys. Once you calculate your life path number, then you got to see what it means, right? So numerology is said to be the closest translation as far as communication with the divine. If I understand correctly, for example, like if angels is so high of a frequency, it cannot actually be translated to human language, so the closest translation is numbers. Okay, so numbers are very powerful. I know a lot of times people will you might hear about angel numbers or synchronicities, things like that. They also say that pretty much everything in the world, in the universe, is based off of a matrix or a number system. I won't go too deep into that because that's a whole nother conversation. So once you got your life path number, you should have a single digit from 1 to 9, obviously, unless you are one of the few who have a master number as their life path number, 11, 22, or 33. Those are not reduced and they have their own full meaning. So if you are a life path number 1, so life path number 1s, they are natural leaders. Okay, they are, kind of take control, put in the work, just handle it kind of people. Usually very confident, usually very self-motivated, ambitious, determined, dedicated, committed. They're really responsible, very hard-working people. They are sometimes tend to be like in leadership roles, or they're powerful people who attract and draw people to them. They're trendsetters. They're the life of the party. They're a lot of times very popular. They might end up being celebrities or politicians. They may be business owners or motivational speakers, mentors, things like that. They're very attractive people. Usually they work hard, sometimes a little bit too focused, well, depending on perspective. They can be a little bit too much of a workaholic, because they are so driven to succeed. Failure is not an option for them. They thrive on challenges and on overcoming challenges, and they have no problem with putting in the work in order to succeed. Okay, they're not afraid to go for it, in any way, whether it be career-wise or whether it be in a relationship. They go for what they want, and they usually will succeed and get that. Okay, they can struggle a little bit when it comes to things that they're not completely sure about. Again, they avoid failure. They try very hard. They're very disciplined. They put in a lot of work, time, and effort to succeed. So they do their best to make sure that happens. They may come off sometimes as arrogant, self-centered, but that is just because they are so focused and goal-oriented, so driven to succeed, and so driven to really outdo themselves. They're in competition with their own self, and they're constantly pushing themselves to be in a better place than they were. And if they do allow you into their space, which they are pretty picky people because they don't have time to waste. They're no bullshitters. Okay, so if they do allow you into their space, they are usually very constant, very committed, and very, very loyal people, always wanting more and better for themselves and the people around them. And they will not settle, and they will not accept any bullshit or settle for anything less than the best. Okay, life path number 2. Now, just like in numerology, a 2s usually represents relationships, love, matters of the heart, things like that. Now, 2s are the lovers of the world. Okay, they lead with their heart. They are logical people, but they do lead emotionally with their heart. They can be a little more sensitive, on the sensitive side sometimes, because of that. But they truly are lovers of love. They believe in support. They really believe in we can all win type of attitude. They are great supporters, great listeners. That can sometimes lead them to struggling with putting other people and other people's needs before their own. So they have to kind of stay aware of that, and making sure that they're not walked all over or become a pushover or anything like that, or taken advantage of. But they are just very genuine people who are always trying to keep the peace. They're always trying to bring love into the equation. They're very consistent. They're great and grounded people, really grounded in point and purpose. They live with intention. You know, they work great in a team. They always have a really positive energy about them. They're usually not very judgmental. They're very open-minded, very understanding. They're very intuitive. They can tell other people's feelings. They are aware of their spouse or their friends or people around them, their energy, and what, you know, what they may be thinking or what they may be feeling. They're very empathetic people. They do tend to be a little bit on the quiet side, come off a little bit shy, but that's only because, again, they are aware and they care to an extent what people think of them. You know, they're people pleasers. They want to make people happy. They want to be an asset to the people around them. Now they tend to go into careers like therapists or, counselors or speakers or teachers, motivational leaders, things like that. They tend to bring balance to a situation, usually very calm, peaceful energies to be around. Life path number 3 is usually are very positive people. Now 3 tends to be and go either way, but usually on the lighter side. 3 is a number of celebration, of success, of moving forward. They are very forward moving people. They're very creative. They tend to be the life of the party. They tend to be pretty attractive people, very, very upbeat, very expressive, usually very gifted artistically, musically. They usually have some kind of gift or knack that is involving creativity. Maybe they're writers or artists or musicians or comedians. They're usually very, very funny people. Just a great energy to be around. They can get a little bit distracted and overstimulated in social environments, things like that. But they are very inspirational people. They're really funny. They can get a little moody sometimes, but they're usually really aware of their surroundings and other people, their feelings. They hold themselves pretty accountable. They're actually pretty responsible people and typically really reliable. They're just natural healers, just off of their energy alone, just the brightness that they bring into a situation, or the humor, or the musical, or the gifts that they bring into a situation is naturally very healing qualities that they have about themselves. So just great energy usually to be around.